Since 2007, one man has dared to expose the sinister power players on all sides of the phony political spectrum. Armed with over 30 years of research knowledge of the paranormal, government conspiracies, geopolitics, secret and ancient societies, the esoteric arts, and much more. One man's quest for knowledge has become a mission for the enlightenment of all people. Broadcasting from the conspiracy ground zero of Dallas, Texas, this is The Global Reality with your host, Josh Reeves.
Yes, indeed. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the broadcast. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. It is Thursday, December 12th, 2019. Back here with you for another edition of the show. And you're going to be getting into, as per usual, all sorts of various news items of discussion and whatnot here for you tonight. Running the gamut of various different topics and crazy different stuff, so do my best to get into all of it for you here on the show tonight. Thank you very much again for joining me. And I got to tell you, there's just been not a lot of stuff to cover lately, so I've kind of been waiting until I have enough stacked up to do a show, because I'm just not going to get up here and just rehash the old same old bullshit. I can't do that. I've got too much other shit to do, and I don't have the time and the energy to just rehash old shit over and over again. So I'm going to be getting into all the news and various things. I've got some stuff. What else? I'm trying to remember what all I want to. I've got some other stuff here. It's not even in my news stack I want to talk about too. So we will get into all of it. I wanted to tell you about some deals real quick. Well, one specific deal we got going on right now. I put it on sale again. We had it for the Black Friday sale, but it's on again until this time next week, next Thursday. Excuse me. Hey, when that happens, you feel that sneeze coming on. Right now in the download shop, we have the complete download collection box set, which has all of the items that are for sale in the download shop. Now, the normal price on that is $175, and that's already a discount. If you add up how much everything is in their total, it's around $300. So we had this deal. I put it on again to give people a last chance to get it, being around the holiday season and everything. So you can get all of my work right now, all the documentaries, it's everything in one pack, all the presentations, all the audiobooks. I think the audiobooks are something like 117 hours total. Audio, just the audiobooks. That doesn't count like the 9-hour plus Mystery Hollywood presentation that's in there as well. The Rockwall and Beyond Live in Houston presentation from 2013 is in there. Everything I've done since my first film, 9/11 New World Rising in 2007, is contained in that collection. It's a great thing. You can get to, you can download it, get a cheap flash drive off of Amazon or something, load it up on there and give it to somebody for the holidays. It makes a great gift if you already have it yourself. So just wanted to let you know to get that and grab one of those, especially if you're new to my work and you don't know what to start with. And I get that question a lot. Hey, what should I start with? I want to start with your movies, and what should I watch first? This is a great opportunity, and we won't have this on sale again. It's a great opportunity for you to go ahead and get everything I've done, all the audiobooks, all the presentations, all the movies, all the films I've made. Everything is in there, and they're all the updated versions too. We've got HD remastered versions of The Secret Right, Volume 1 and 2 are in there. 9/11 New World Rising, my first film, both Lost Secrets of Ancient America films. The Spellcasters 1 and 1.5, as well as all the other video presentations and stuff that I've done, all collected in there. You get individual links to download them, so you can download them, at your own leisure. It's all in there. Go and get it now, $120. on sale in the download shop. You can also get all the stuff individually in there if you don't want to do that as well. But that's how I survive and live and eat. That's my work. That's the stuff I've done. So it's very important that you purchase the films and the audiobooks and all that stuff, because that's where that's how I live and survive. So do that. Also, I want to tell you on our fundraising efforts, our goal for this week is $400. That's left over from last week. That's left over from the first of the month. We've only gotten $35 in all month. I'm trying to get Spellcasters Volume 2 out by the 23rd of this month, and I cannot do that. I can't continue to do shows, and I can't continue to work on these films. We have nothing in there to work on. We have less than $20 right now, so we need everybody to step up and contribute any amount you can so we can reach this goal this week, keep the internet, keep everything up and running here, keep the studio going. It's vitally important that you do this. And I don't want to have to lock everything down and put everything behind a paywall and make you pay for everything, but that's coming very soon if we don't start getting the support we need. Just bottom line. Because the haters and the bullshit and the shit talkers and people out there that want to shit talk and not contribute but still want the information because they know they're going to get information here they can't get anywhere else, even if they don't like me, even if they're going to shit talk. That's not fair. And those people don't deserve to get everything for free and just be able to sit back and get the info they're not going to get anywhere else and enlighten themselves, but at the same time hate me and not want to contribute. And I'm tired of that. I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. And those people should have to pay, just like everybody that actually enjoys what I do and is behind me here. So again, those of you who are behind me and do stand with me, that's not for you. So thank you so much to everybody out there that does continue to listen and stand with me here with what we're trying to do with this work. What did I want to get? What did I have? I know I had some stuff. I saw that that Greta Thunberg girl won Person of the Year. Man, I don't know. There's something weird. Something's weird about her. Something's weird. Like a lot of the pictures that they put of her, they photoshopped them to make her eyes look brighter. Because if you look at a lot of the pictures of her, listen, she just doesn't, she has a real darkness. There's something weird. There's something weird about it. And, that's one of the many bullshit things about the mainstream media these days is there's, everybody's just afraid to say anything. I don't give a fuck. They can't cancel me. They can't touch me. They've already done everything they can do to me. I mean, they demonetized my channel, many months ago. Not that I ever made much off that anyway. $200 every couple of months is all I ever made. But, they've kept me suppressed. They mess with we caught them red-handed a couple of weeks ago, messing with my views, which I know they've been doing for a long time. But this one was blatant, where it literally was like, went down 40-something views within a matter of seconds. I got screenshots and captured and all that. But, I'm just going to tell you, like, there's so much stuff now that people are afraid to talk about because of cancel culture or, the PC culture. Listen, you're never going to get that from me. I'm going to shoot it to you straight. There's something weird about that Greta Thunberg chick. There's something weird about her. She doesn't have the light in her eyes that children usually have. She has a real evil, dark, demonic-looking energy behind her eyes. And I started looking at pictures, and I noticed that they've been photoshopping her pictures. This is crazy. To make her and brightening up her eyes to make her eyes look more brightened, because I think people started noticing that. So there's a lot of pictures now where you can tell her eyes have been photoshopped, because normally she has these real dark, like black eyes have been photoshopped, making them like look bluish green and stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then, of course, you probably saw, did you guys see the weird stuff, the picture of, they call it the Greta Thunberg time traveler thing. There's nothing time traveling about this. That's bullshit. Don't believe that. But there's a picture of like a child from the 1800s that looks like it's her identical twin. But it's less likely, I mean, listen, there's no time. I hate when they do that. It's always a shill thing. There's nothing time traveling about that. More likely what it is, which this is what's funny about this. This will sound even crazier, even though this is the more likely scenario. This probably will sound crazier to the people that believe in the whole time travel scenario thing with her. More than likely what it is, I know they've been doing this for quite some time. The more believable thing is that they're going and getting DNA from dead people and then creating clones that they roll out and use for, whatever their agendas are. I think this has happened quite a bit. There's something weird about that girl. There's something very weird. I don't know whether she's, a mind control victim or something, but she's got a very dark, evil energy. They made her person of the year. And it's weird. There's something weird about it. Where are her parents at? You're letting a little minor travel on a boat by herself across the world. So just something's weird about this whole thing. Something doesn't smell right about it. I'll tell you something else that doesn't smell right to me. And this is another one. The other night I was thinking about this. Because I always like to look for things that maybe I try to stay abreast to all of this stuff. But I also think it's important that, if you do have holes in your game, so to speak, holes in your knowledge base or whatever, that you try to fill those in as best you can. And I hadn't really given this much thought, and I wondered why I haven't given this much thought. I was like, I started thinking, well, maybe I'm slipping. Maybe I just haven't done my due diligence on this. But I was thinking about Virginia Roberts, the supposed, Epstein, Maxwell slave victim. I started thinking about that. And I said, I must be slipping. I don't know. Because I don't really know. I don't really know how did this even happen? How did she happen to get involved with Maxwell and Epstein and the whole thing? Because I haven't heard. And as per usual, as I started looking into it, I once again started coming up with more questions and answers. I mean, do any of you really know? Because I went and started looking, and I got to tell you, folks, there's not a lot. Not a lot has been written or said, and it seems like I think probably because of this current climate that we're in, where everybody seems to be afraid to ask hard questions about things because they don't want to be, stuff like, don't be you're victim shaming. I could totally see, it's victim shaming to ask how she came into this whole thing. Well, because all the things I found only said that she was quote unquote trafficked. Okay, well, number one, and again, listen, I'm just asking hard questions. I'm not victim shaming or any of that bullshit that they want to try to throw on you. But, she's smiling and she looks happy in all those pictures, doesn't she? She doesn't look like she's under duress or, she looks well fed and well taken care of. Doesn't look like she's been beaten or anything. But I kept looking. I could not find one solid explanation for how she wound up in that situation. Because I said, okay, maybe she was kidnapped. Started looking into that. She was not kidnapped. She was never reported missing. She wasn't a runaway. If she wasn't a runaway, she wasn't reported missing, and she wasn't kidnapped, then how did she get in that situation? And the only plausible explanation is that her parents sold her into it. And that part of the story is being kept from us. That's the only plausible thing. She was never kidnapped, folks. Think about it. If she was kidnapped, there would be police reports on that. There would be stories. There'd be stuff you could find. She was not kidnapped. She wasn't a runaway. No missing persons reports were ever filed on her. And she conveniently gets rolled out as a victim and a witness when all this stuff starts blowing up. There's something shady about this. I think that her parents got paid a large amounts of money. She was a minor, so she didn't get any of that money. Now that she's an adult and she is indeed a victim of this, she wants to get paid, and I can't blame her. I don't blame her for it. But something's weird. We're missing. There's a lot of the story about her we're not getting. And like I said, when I went to look and to find the answers to those questions, I ended up with more questions than answers. And that's always a red flag for me. again, I was like, maybe I'm slipping on this. Maybe I'm just not doing my research. No, it's because that information hasn't been made available to us. And even if you go and look, there's very scant information about it. The main thing that she says was she was trafficked by Ghislaine Maxwell and trafficked over to England and all this. But that's it. That's a very vague description. Where were the parents? Where were her parents while this was going on? Her parents obviously weren't concerned. They didn't file any police reports. They never reported her missing. I mean, how old was she? 14 or 15 or 16, however old she was. When all that was going on, her parents obviously were not concerned with her well-being or where she was at the time. Something's smelly, something's fishy about this. So, like I said, I'm not denying that this happened to her. Obviously, there's pictures and stuff. But to me, it seems like, I don't know. It seems like she's trying to get paid, and that's it. And that her parents already got paid. If she was kidnapped or anything else, there would be police reports, there would be missing persons reports, all of that stuff. None of that stuff exists. And there's no explanation as to how. Clearly, listen, it's not a stretch. In fact, from what I understand, that stuff happens more often than not. Parents sell their children into this stuff a lot of times. It's not a fucking conspiracy theory. So I don't know. I just got tired of looking because I couldn't find Dick. I kept looking and looking. All I kept hearing was the only thing that she said was I was trafficked to England. But again, I no question there are people that are taken, kidnapped and stuff like that and put into this stuff against their will. But I think a big missing part of this story is that many of these victims were given over to people like Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein and the rest of it willingly and for large sums of money. And to me, that's the missing story about this. Yeah, everybody wants to jump on Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but listen, they're not all the only people involved in this. There are many other people that have been involved in this and were complicit in this, and that's just being thrown by the wayside. So this story says none of Jeffrey Epstein's victims have been willing to take a shot and sign up to compensation fund, moving full steam ahead with lawsuits instead, his disappointed lawyer reveals. A lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein's estate said today he is disappointed that women who say the financier sexually assaulted them are not suspending their lawsuits and choosing to join a special compensation fund instead. Attorney Bennett Moskowitz said alleged victims of the billionaire are pursuing their legal cases rather than join the fund. But an attorney for one woman says lawsuits are the better route, except, at least for now. More than a dozen lawsuits are seeking millions of dollars in compensation for women who say they were sexually abused by Epstein, sometimes for years, at his homes in Manhattan, Florida, New York, Islands, and Paris. But again, none of these stories say or ever give any explanation of how these girls got there in the first place. And none of them are saying, I was kidnapped, I was taken at gunpoint, they scooped me up off the street corner when I was walking home from school and put a bag on my head and put me in a van. And none of that. None of those stories are coming out. So again, we are obviously not getting the complete story here, ladies and gentlemen. Something is, and of course, that's why this makes this just a fucking cream jeans case for the fucking lawyers. Nobody's asking questions. Where the fuck were the parents at? Where were these parents that allowed their children to be in situations where this would even happen? And the reason why we're not getting into that explanation is because obviously these parents were paid off. And now, these people who were minors when this happened, who, didn't get any money from this, now they're wanting to get paid. And hey, rightly so. But to sweep all this under the rug and not ask the questions about how these girls got into this situation in the first place is not doing this situation any more justice. And it starts bringing up more questions and answers. And again, there's nothing in this article about it. Yet again. I don't know how they can just say these things. And again, you got media complicity here with the media is not even asking any questions as to how they got to these people in the first place. They didn't just, again, because if they were kidnapped, there'd be kidnapping reports, missing persons reports. There is none of that on these victims. And it was like they willfully went and did this. And then once it all blew up over the past several years, this is when we started hearing about it. They're just very shady. Very shady shit here. Kind of the same thing, speaking of shady shit, it's interesting that, now that all the stuff has gone down with Alex Jones and all the stuff has come out, I was exposing that guy in 2008. Nobody wanted to hear it. Now, after all the Sandy Hook stuff has come out, and now that it's just now all these people that worked for him, who were doing his bidding and were his little minions, now they all want to come out. It's the same shit, man. People just trying to get paid and trying to get a name for themselves. New York Times Magazine article here. I worked for Alex Jones and I regret it. On Election Day 2016, I sat in the passenger seat of Alex Jones's Dodge Hellcat as we swerved through traffic, making our way to a nearby polling place. As Jones punched the gas pedal to the floor, the smell of vodka, like paint thinner, wafted up from the white Dixie cup anchored in the console. My stomach churned as the phone I held streamed live video to Facebook, Jones rambling about voter fraud and rigged elections while I stared at the screen, holding the camera at an angle to hide his double chin. It rarely worked, but I didn't want to be blamed when he watched the video later. 4 years earlier, Jones wanting to expand his website. Before I go any further, I just want to say, this is exactly what I told you 10 years ago was coming. Jones would have a controlled descent that happened just as much as it ascent. You understand what I mean? I told you this 10 years ago. In 2009, I started saying this. That just like his rise was controlled, there would eventually be a controlled downfall that they would try to use against everybody out there who's trying to tell the truth, including people like me who disavowed this guy over a decade ago. And I have single-handedly spent over 12 years exposing this guy. And so this is not, again, this is all being framed as an attack on Jones, and it's not an attack on Jones. It's an attack on people in general that are trying to tell the truth, and they're trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater as per usual. 4 years earlier, Jones wanted to expand his website Infowars into a full-blown guerrilla news operation and hoping to scout new hires from his growing fan base, held an online contest. I remember that. At 23, I was vulnerable, angry, and searching for direction, so I decided to give it a shot. Out of what Infowars said were hundreds of submissions, my video, a half-witted conspiratorial glance at the creation and function of the Federal Reserve, made it to the final round. Unconvinced I could cut it as a reporter, Jones offered me a full-time position as a video editor. I quit film school and moved nearly 1,000 miles to Austin, Texas, fully invested in propagating his worldview. By the time I found myself seated next to Jones, speeding down the highway, I had seen enough of the inner workings of Infowars to know better. Before we left the office, Jones instructed me to title the video, quote, Alex Jones denied right to vote, when uploading to YouTube. He knew before we left that they weren't going to let us walk into a polling location with our cameras rolling. I don't think Jones even intended to vote. Rather, he hoped to turn this into a spectacle an insult, with him personally adding opportunity to play the self-aggrandizing victim. "Look at this great shot," he said, pointing at the window at Austin's skyline. As soon as I pulled the camera off of him, he reached for the white Dixie cup. "Is this really how I'm going to die?" I thought to myself, imagining the scene. Jones veering too close to the guardrail, ranting about George Soros and Hillary Clinton, sirens echoing in the distance, flashing lights reflecting off oil-soaked pavement as he grabs the camera and utters his final words. "Hillary rigged the car." His listeners would have believed it. Years earlier, I would have believed it too. Fortunately, there were no sirens or flashing lights, and I was relieved when "Vote Here" signs began to appear. A line stretched out the door of the polling place in a local strip mall. By the time we arrived, as I expected, Jones was told multiple times that he couldn't film at a polling place, and we decided to leave. Walking back to the car, still taking sips from his white cup, he began noticeably slurring his words. A friend of Jones, who tagged along for quote-unquote security purposes, offered to give me a ride back to the office. Jones revved his engine, tires squealing as he sped out of the parking lot. I began listening to Jones's radio show, the flagship program of what is now a conspiracist media empire, with an audience that until recently surpassed 1 million people. In the last days of George W. Bush's presidency, the American public had been sold a war through outright fabrications. The economy was in free fall thanks to Wall Street greed and the failure of Washington regulators. And that's another thing I was going to mention before I go any further. As I was talking about how there just hasn't been a lot to cover. I don't know about you, but I'm sick to death of hearing about this fucking impeachment bullshit. And listen, you know where I stand on Trump. I don't support Trump or any of these phony left-right puppet dictators, but there's two major reasons why this whole impeachment thing is bullshit. Well, three major. Number one, it's absolutely political. They've been looking for something since day one to try to get him out of there, because they can't do it politically, because they don't have anybody worth a fuck that's electable. There's nobody. They got a bunch of losers. They got nobody. The right wing didn't have anybody either. That's the thing. But with Trump, at least they have somebody they know that people have already voted for and will vote for again. That's the whole reason why they're behind him. But my point is that, okay, number one, they got nothing else. The whole Ukraine thing is so weak. Every fucking president, everybody does this shit. It's been going on since time immemorial. But the two major reasons why the Trump impeachment thing is bullshit. Number one, George W. Bush. That's what triggered me to remember it. George W. Bush. That son of a bitch launched an illegal war with illegal precedent, used 9/11 to do it when the people that they claimed did 9/11 had nothing to do with the people that we launched a war on. He walked away unimpeached. Barack Obama comes in, and one of the first things he does when he gets in office is what? Oh, everybody forgot about that now, didn't they? He comes in and bombs Yemen and drops white phosphorus, which is a war crime, by the way, on civilian populations and children and women. And what did he get for it? He got the Nobel fucking Peace Prize. If George W. Bush launched an illegal war and didn't get impeached, and Barack Obama dropped white phosphorus on civilian populations in Yemen and didn't get impeached, then fucking Trump shouldn't be impeached either. Again, not saying he's a good guy, not saying I'm behind him, but if you let those two criminals get away, I mean, the punishment should fit the crime. You know, sanction him, fine him $1 billion, and then split that money up amongst the American people. How about that? Oh, no, we can't do that because this is all political. It's horseshit. All of it's horseshit. Bill Clinton, I'm not defending him either, but what'd he do? He got his dick sucked. Punishment's not fitting the crime here. That's why this whole thing is bullshit. You got a guy who asked Ukraine to investigate the Bidens. You got a guy who dumped white phosphorus and bombed civilian population and children and women in Yemen. Walked away scot-free. You got a guy that launched an illegal war with countless American and Iraqi lives lost. Afghanistan as well. And then you got a guy that got his dick sucked. And he's the one that got, the punishment's not fitting the crime here. And that's how you know this is not about, the service of the American people or whatever other kind of fucking patronizing bullshit they try to sell you. It's about political gains, and they know that's the only way they're going to get, or at least try to get control again, because they don't have, listen, if they had anybody in there, if the Democrats had anybody that was a fucking candidate, that was a fucking winner, but you don't get into those situations if you're winners. You don't get there. Only compromised, bought, and paid for people even get in the running for these things. And I know you all know that. I'm preaching to the choir, but still. They're wasting time. They're doing this because the election's coming up. Listen, if Trump had bombed civilian populations with white phosphorus on children and women, they tried to get us, Bolton and those guys tried to get us into war. And again, I'm not defending Trump, but those guys tried to get us into war with Iran already, and Trump fucking nixed it. He kept a war from happening. And Bush and Obama walk away scot-free. It's mind-blowing. If he had launched an illegal war or dropped bombs on civilian populations, on children and stuff, then fuck yeah, I'd be all about, we need to get this son of a bitch out. But when you look at what he actually did in comparison to what other presidents did that walked away scot-free, it doesn't fit. And that's how you know the whole system is corrupt and everything's more fucked than, that the guy got in there, that Trump got in there in the first place, shows you how fucked things are. It was broken well before he got in there. And he's just the most current symptom of this completely broken system. The American public had been sold, blah, blah, blah. Most of the mainstream media was caught flat-footed by these developments, but Jones seemed to have an explanation for everything. He railed against government corruption and secrecy, the militarization of police. He confronted those in power, traipsed through the California redwoods to expose the secretive all-male meetings of elites at Bohemian Grove, which was all staged as well. Yeah, his CMP connections got him in there. You can hear there's a clip in there where Jones is where he's walking through the Bohemian Grove, and there's some guys walking in front of him. CMP types, totally. You can tell they're spooks. CIA types, CMP types too. And you can hear one of them says to the other one. I remember when I first heard this in the early 2000s, I didn't know what it meant, but after I found out about the CMP stuff and all that, I totally understood it, because one of the guys says, Reagan was a breakthrough for us. I always wonder, like, what does that mean? Reagan was a breakthrough for us, because Reagan was a Bohemian Grove member too. Who would these people be that were at the Bohemian Grove when Jones was there saying that? And that's when you realize, well, the CMP came in during the Reagan administration. That's what its original cover story goal was they called it, in fact, Paul Craig Roberts, when Pruneface from old Pruneface from fucking Dick Tracy, pull up a picture of Paul Craig Roberts and pull up a picture of Pruneface from Dick Tracy, and you'll have a good laugh. Same guy. I remember I confronted him on a radio show I called into like 2008. And that's what he said he'd never heard of the CMP. And he said, well, I remember it was a support group for Reagan. Yeah. Okay. Support group for Reagan. Right. And he even appeared in 2 Richard Linklater films as himself, screaming into a megaphone. But it wasn't the politics that initially drew me in. Jones had a way of imbuing the world with mystery, adding a layer of cinematic. Oh, that's a big word. Oh, wow. I wonder where this person learned that word at. Verisimilitude. Wow. That fucker probably broke his brain trying to come up with that word. Probably pulled it up on an app. That caught my attention. Suddenly I was no longer a bored kid attending an overpriced art school. I was Fox Mulder coming through the X-Files. I had my limit. I can't say I ever believed his avowed theory that Sandy Hook was a staged event to push for gun control. To Jones, everything was a false flag. I didn't believe that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama smelled like sulfur because of their proximity to hell, or that Planned Parenthood was run by Nazi baby killers, but it was easy to brush off these fever dreams as eccentricities and excesses, not the heart of the Alex Jones operation, but mere diversions. Once I started working there, however, it became obvious that one was impossible to separate one from the other. Soon after I was hired, Jones' Infowars branded store, which sells emergency survival foods, water filters, body armor, and much more, introduced an iodine supplement, initially marketed as a shield against nuclear fallout. Still learning the ropes, I was tasked with creating a video advertisement for the supplement, which he ran on his online TV show. One of these ads started with a shot of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant as it exploded. I doubled the sound of the explosion, adding a glitch filter and sirens in the background for dramatic effect. Jones stood over my shoulder as I edited. "This is great. See if you can find flyover footage at Chernobyl as well," he said. Shortly after Jones began selling the supplement, someone posted a video on YouTube holding a Geiger counter displaying high radiation readings on a beach in Half Moon Bay, California. The video went viral, stoking fears that radiation from Fukushima was drifting across the Pacific Ocean. Jones saw an opportunity and sent me, along with a reporter, a writer, and another cameraman, to California. We had multiple Geiger counters shipped overnight, unaware of how to read or work them, and drove up the West Coast, frequently stopping to check radiation levels. Other than a small spike in Half Moon Bay, which the California Department of Public Health said was from naturally occurring radioactive materials, not Fukushima, we found nothing. Jones was furious. We started getting calls from the radio show producers in the office, warning us to stop posting videos to YouTube, stating we weren't finding elevated levels of radiation. We couldn't just stop, though. Jones demanded constant real-time content. On some of these calls, I could hear Jones screaming in the background. One of the producers told me they had never seen him so angry. We scrambled to find anything we could to report on. We tested freshly caught crab from a dock in Crescent City, California, and traveled to the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant in Avila Beach, asking fishermen if we could test the small croakers they caught off a nearby pier. We even tried to locate a small nuclear waste facility so we could just capture the Geiger counter displaying a high number, but we couldn't find what Jones wanted. After 2 weeks of traveling from San Diego to Portland, we flew back to Texas as failures, bracing for Jones's rage. Jones did not respond to detailed queries sent before the publication by the Times Magazine. Over time, I came to learn that keeping Jones from getting angry was a big part of the job, though it was impossible to predict his outbursts. Stories abounded among my coworkers. The blinds stuck, so he ripped them off the wall. A water cooler had mold in it, so he grabbed a large knife, stabbed the plastic base wildly, and smashed it on the ground. That's hilarious. "Ah, fuck this water cooler. I'll throw it out the goddamn window. I'm going to stab it. Ah!" That's fucking hilarious. Got mold in it. Folks, New World Order. I don't know what to do. George Soros is in my office. He's putting mold in her water bottles in here, and I'm mad. Headlines weren't strong enough. The news wasn't being covered the way he wanted. Reporters didn't know how to dress properly. Once a coworker stopped by the office with a pet fish he was taking home to his niece. It swam in circles in a small transparent bag. When Jones saw the bag balanced upright on a desk in a conference room, he emptied it into a garbage can. What a fucking psycho. On one occasion, he threatened to send out a memo banning laughter in the office. No laughing here, folks. You're not allowed to laugh about anything. I don't give a damn. We're in a war, he said, and he wanted people to act accordingly. I also saw Jones give an employee the Rolex off his own wrist simply because he thought the employee was mad at him. Now, would a bad guy do that? Look, I'm giving you my Rolex. Here, take this. Put this on now. I'm not a bad guy, right? You aren't mad at me anymore, are you? This guy is a fucking psycho. I mean, now that we didn't already know that, goddamn. Jones asked as he handed over the watch. Once when I went to interview a frequent guest of Jones's, I was sent with a check to cover a potentially life-saving cancer treatment. A few times I came close to quitting, and like clockwork, just before I pulled the plug, I received a bonus or a significant raise. Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're being CIA funded like that, You can throw around Rolexes. You can throw around checks. People get ready to quit and go tell their story. You just slap some cash in their hands. I received a bonus or significant raise. I hadn't discussed my discontent with Jones, but he seemed to sense it. Jones often told his employees that working for him would leave a black mark on our records. To him, it was the price that must be paid for boldly confronting those in power, what he called the New World Order, or later the Deep State. Once my beliefs began to shift, I saw the virulent nature of his world, the emptiness and loathing in many of these impassioned claims, that I was certain that after 4 years working for Jones, I would never be able to get another job, banished into poverty as penance for my transgressions, and rightly so. Listen, this is, I'm sorry, but you should have fucking known better before you went and worked for this cocksucker. Listen, it's the same shit. It's like the Virginia Roberts thing. They people want to come out now, and these people want to get paid because the sinking ship has already sunk halfway down, and now people want to get paid and get paid. These people are all getting paid for these stories. That's what all this is about. Because Jones allowed them, through all the CIA cash, to live well beyond the means of most people. Listen, this isn't I got another story next along these same lines. This is what I'm telling you. And now these people want to get paid. Listen, I'm sorry. If you weren't smart enough to know before you went into work for this guy, then in my opinion, you deserve what you get. When Jones wanted to blow off steam, he would travel to a private ranch outside Austin to shoot guns. Among other firearms, we would bring the 2 Barrett 50 caliber rifles he kept stashed in the office. Because we never missed an opportunity to create more content, we also brought along cameras to turn whatever happened into a segment for his show. I remember one trip in particular. It was the summer of 2014, and I rode to the ranch in the back of a coworker's truck, surrounded by semi-automatic rifles, boxes of ammunition, and tannerite, an explosive rifle target. A few of us left early in the morning, arriving before Jones to film B-roll and load magazines. He had no patience for preparation. When he came hours later, after eating a few handfuls of jalapeno chips, that's fucking funny. Enchiladas. Hi guys, I got some jalapeno chips over here. Everybody get your big handful of them, or then we'll shoot some rifles. He picked up an AR-15 and accidentally fired it in my direction. The bullet hit the ground about 10 feet away from me. One employee who was already uncomfortable around firearms lost it, accusing Jones of being careless and flippant. This was one of the few times I saw someone call Jones out, and the only time he didn't get angry in response. He claimed he intentionally fired the gun as a joke, as if this were any better. I stood by silently, considering what might have happened if the gun had been pointed a little to the right. After a while, the upset employee let it go, and no one brought it up again. We cracked open a few more beers, filled an old television with tannerite, and blew it up. One weekend, a few people from the office went hunting at a game reserve. On the following Monday, I was handed a hard drive full of video files and told to edit them for Jones to air on his show later in the week. There are clips in here that are pretty bad, things we don't want to get out, so let me take a look at this before we upload it. The first video I clicked on came from a cell phone. The camera pans across a blood-covered floor in what looked like a garage. Dead animals were scattered about, eyes lifeless, tongues hanging out from their mouths, crimson streaks splashed on their fur. Yeah, and he's always talking about, folks, in the New World, they're elite. The Clintons are obsessed. They're obsessed with maggots, folks. Demon worshippers, yet he's got fucking, he's making videos with dead, and it's just, he's just as sick as any of the fucks he talks about. In another video, a bison grazed quietly in the shade of a large tree. It reminded me of a tableau at the American Museum of National History. Then the camera panned over to Jones, maybe 20 yards away, holding what looked like a handgun. Jones began firing at the bison, tufts of hair flying with every hit. The animal remained standing as Jones shot round after round. Finally, the hunting guide yelled at Jones to stop and handed him a high-caliber rifle. Jones took a moment to make sure the cameras were still recording and fired a few more rounds as the animal finally collapsed. I shared a large room with 3 other employees, and Jones often walked into our office after he wrapped for the day. His first question was always, how was the show? If anyone said it was great, someone, if not everyone, always said it was great. His response was saying, really? Did you think it was great? What'd you like about it? Working for Jones was a balancing act. You know how many times I've ever asked anyone what they thought about a show I did? Never. If someone tells me they enjoyed the show or says great show, I very much appreciate it. It's very much, I honestly, I'm like, wow, great. I'm awesome. Cool. I'm glad I did a good job. I'm never going to go to say, hey, what'd you think about the show I did last night? I mean, occasionally if I do a fucking something, I'm like, hey, you should check this out. This is a good show, but what a fucking narcissistic psycho. Working for Jones was a balancing act. You had to determine where he was at emotionally and match his tone quickly. If he was angry, then you'd better get angry. If he was joking around, then you could relax, sort of, always looking out of the corner of your eye for his mood to turn at any moment. Late one night after an extended live broadcast, Jones walked into my office shirtless. This was normal. He removed his shirt frequently around us. He pulled out a bottle of Grey Goose from a storage cabinet and filled his cup. He stumbled into his private restroom. The dude's got his own private restroom. That right there tells you everything you need to know. Changed into a clean black polo shirt and stepped back into our office. Hit me, he said to an employee in the room. When the employee refused, Jones got louder and his face got redder. He said, hit me! He kept saying it, getting closer each time. Finally, knowing Jones would never relent, the employee gave him a weak tap on the shoulder. Oh, come on, he said, hit me harder! Harder! The employee punched him hard in the shoulder. Jones grunted on the impact, seeming to enjoy the pain. Yeah, I think it was the last time he was on with Joe Rogan, after he had said he was going to expose Joe Rogan and said Joe Rogan got up to weird stuff in hotel rooms at 4 a.m. in Las Vegas. And then next thing you know, they're buddies. Again, Jones goes on his show and he kept trying to get Eddie Bravo to choke him out. And then they were talking about they were going to have a steak dinner. And then the next time you saw Jones, he had his fucking shoulder in a sling, but there was never any explanation for it. Something's weird about that. I think he said he had surgery or something, but something's up. Something was up. I think somebody fucked him up and they didn't want to talk about it. Smirking, he planted his feet, reared back, and lunged his body weight forward as his fist connected with the man's arm. I could hear the dull thud of impact, then a wincing sigh. They traded a few more punches, each time seeming less playful. Jones became wild-eyed, spit flying from his clenched teeth as he exhaled. On his last hit, the sound was different, wet. I thought I could hear the meat split open in the employee's arm. Jones roared as he punched a cabinet, denting the door in. A few weeks later, I heard that Jones had broken a video editor's ribs after playing the same game in a downtown bar. Ah, that's probably what it was. He probably went out with Rogan and Eddie Bravo and them got fucked up. Started pulling that on him, and one of those guys, Eddie Bravo, listen, he's a flat earth dumbass. The guy believes anything he hears on YouTube. But regardless of that, let me say this about Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo, other than the Gracie family and the Machados, I mean, Eddie Bravo evolved jiu-jitsu farther than it was evolved for thousands of years. I'll give that to him. The guy is a fucking master. If you don't believe me, go watch the videos of him taking on, I think you said, was it Hoist Gracie, one of those guys? Yeah, Eddie Bravo, and Joe Rogan too. I mean, he's, he might be a dumbass meathead guy, but the guy's got some moves. I mean, George St. Pierre is one of the, arguably one of the greatest fighter of all time, one of the greatest fighters of all time. And he was looking to improve his spinning back kick. He wasn't very good at it. He was trying to find somebody that could teach him how to do a better spinning back kick. And somebody said to him, well, I know a guy. I know a guy can do it better than anybody, but you're going to laugh when I tell you who it is. He was like, no, tell me. He was like, Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan was like, well, I can do this one thing is all I can do. And do this one thing good. There's video. Go look it up. Go look up Joe Rogan spinning back kick. He fucking kicks a fucking hole into one of those big heavy bags with like 3 or 4 hits, dude. So that's what I think happened. I think Jones started, because during the show, Jones was saying, choke me out, Eddie, choke me out. And he's like, no, man, I ain't going to choke you out. He probably got fucked up. One of those guys had to put a hurt on him. And then he didn't want to bring it up later, Probably what happened. Having aligned himself with Donald Trump during the 2016 presidential race, Jones might now be considered a version of a conservative, but his perspective is much more complicated than that. Infowars was a lot like a lot of digital media outlets in that we reported on things our top editor thought would go viral, but because our boss was Alex Jones, this was a peculiar process. Assignments were often handed down live on air during a show. We were to have it playing throughout the offices, always listening for directives. Ideas for stories mostly came from what other news outlets reported. Jones wanted us to hijack the mainstream media's coverage and use it to our advantage. If it fit into the Infowars narrative, it played. When I wasn't at the office, I spent much of my time traveling for Jones. I inhaled the tear gas in Ferguson, Missouri during the Black Lives Matter protests, retching as I hid with protesters corralled by cops in riot gear. I stood next to armed cowboys and ranch hands as they faced off against the Bureau of Land Management to retrieve Cliven Bundy's cattle in Nevada. I had dinner with the leader of the Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, at his home in Phoenix, and spent a weekend at the compound of Jim Baker, the televangelist who spent time in prison for fraud. Jones's instinctual desire to distance himself from the mainstream led us to unusual and sometimes dark places. In December 2015, the day before Jones interviewed Donald Trump, still a candidate at the time, on his radio show, I made my way to upstate New York on assignment along with a reporter and second cameraman. We were sent to visit Muslim-majority communities throughout the United States to investigate what Jones instructed us to call the American Caliphate. After the California Geiger counter debacle, we had meetings with Jones before trips in order to ascertain exactly what he wanted. If we hit some home runs, he said, we would get significant bonuses. We landed in Newark at 12:30 p.m. on December 1st, 2015. The first stop was Islamburg, a Muslim community 3 hours north of Manhattan. It was founded in the 1980s by mostly African-American followers of a Pakistani cleric named Mubarak Ali Shah Jilani, who encouraged devotees of his conservative brand of Sufi Islam to establish small settlements across the rural United States. Jilani was suspected of association with the organization Jamaat ul-Fuqara, which was briefly designated as a terrorist group by the State Department in the mid-1990s. Jilani was denied any connection to the group. His followers in Islamburg had no record of violence, with some of them had denounced the Islamic State in an interview with Reuters earlier that year, saying they did not believe Islamic State members to be real Muslims. But unfounded rumors circulated around far-right corners of the internet that this community was a potential terrorist training center. Jones, who thought the media consistently ingratiated themselves with Islamic extremists, believed them. We pulled in unannounced to a dirt drive leading to the community, stopping at a flimsy cattle gate guarded by 2 men. The reporter, wearing a hidden camera, approached the entrance as we filmed the interaction from the vehicle. The men were calm and polite, if a little suspicious, reasonable given the circumstances. They denied our entry into Islamburg, but took our number and told us we could return after they verified who we were. It was only later, after listening to the audio from the reporter's hidden camera, that I heard what he told the 2 men guarding the gate. Basically what we do is we go around and we do videos debunking claims of stuff, the reporter said. The word is people say this is some kind of training camp, so we wanted to come in and get some footage and kind of put that whole rumor to rest. He gave them his real name, a name that with a quick Google search would lead back to Infowars with its headlines like, Inside sources, bin Laden's corpse has been on ice for nearly a decade. Special report, why Obama brought Ebola to U.S. exposed. And video, demon caught on camera during Obama visit. Those headlines could be described by many words, but none of them would be debunking. Because of the conspiracy theories about the place, Islamberg was a constant target of right-wing extremists. That April, a Tennessee man was arrested and later convicted of plotting to raise a militia to burn Islamberg's mosque to the ground. Only days before we arrived, the FBI issued an alert to law enforcement to be on the lookout for a man named John Reitzheimer, the leader of an anti-Muslim movement in Arizona, who posted a video threatening violence against Muslims less than 2 weeks earlier. In the video, he brandished a handgun, saying, "I'm urging all Americans across the U.S. everywhere in public, start carrying a slung rifle with you everywhere. Don't be a victim in your own country." So the phone call we received later that night from a law enforcement agent shouldn't have come as a surprise. The officer who contacted us simply said he wanted to verify who we were after receiving a concerned call from someone in Islamberg. We told Jones about it, and he chose to believe the call was a veiled threat, an attempt to intimidate us into silence. To him, this verified that we were on to something. He even went so far as to include Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York City, in the purported conspiracy, claiming he wanted to abolish the Second Amendment and that somehow intimidating us would achieve that. Jones told us to file a story that accused the police of harassment, lending credence to the theory that this community contained dangerous potential terrorists. I knew this wasn't the case according to the information we had. We all did. Days before we spoke to the sheriff and the mayor of Deposit, New York, a nearby municipality, they both told us the people in Islamberg were kind, generous neighbors who welcomed the surrounding community into their homes, even celebrating holidays together. The information did not meet our expectations, so we made it up, preying on the vulnerable and feeding the prejudices and fears of Jones's audience. We ignored certain facts, fabricated others, and took situations out of context to fit our narrative, posting headlines like, "Drone investigates Islamic training center. Sharia law zones confirmed in America. Infowars reporter stalked by terrorism task force. Report Obama's terror cells in the U.S. The rumors are true. Sharia law is here." Our next stop was Hamtramck, a Muslim-majority city embedded within Detroit that alarmists in neighboring communities called Shariaville. As we headed west, my phone vibrated and a news alert appeared on the screen. There were reports that a mass shooting that week in San Bernardino, California, had been perpetrated by Islamic extremists, making it at the time the deadliest Islamic attack in the United States since September 11th. I knew that when the details emerged, they would substantiate the lies we pushed to Jones's audience. It didn't matter if the attack took place on the other side of the country or if the people in Islamberg had no connection to the perpetrators in San Bernardino. Jones's listeners would draw imaginary lines between the two, and we were helping them to do it. I quit working for Jones on April 7th, 2017, when offered another job, an introductory position with a 75% pay cut. I jumped at the opportunity. Instead of giving 2 weeks' notice, I left in 3 hours. Jones had gone home for the day, so I didn't speak with him in person. I said goodbye to coworkers and managers, handed over my company credit card, and hoped that that would be the end of it. 2 nights later, I received a call from Jones. "Let me tell you a little secret," he said in his gravelly voice. "I don't like it anymore either." "What do you mean?" I asked. "I don't want to do it anymore. I got all these people working for me, and I feel guilty. I don't want to do it. You think I want to keep doing this? I haven't wanted to do this for 5 years, man." I sensed that he was pandering, but I couldn't help thinking that for the first time since I started this job, Jones and I finally had something in common. Sure, there was a time when I shared his anger. In fact, I was still angry, but this is where we differed. I wasn't angry with others. I mean, Jones just basically admitted right there that he's a fucking CIA plant. You know what I mean? Basically, that's what he did. That was him trying to be real with this guy without revealing anything. But if you read between the lines there, it's pretty clear that, why would he keep, if he didn't want to do it, why would he keep doing it? He keeps doing it because what he does is a it's him taking orders. This is an operation. That's what it's always been. Jones and I finally had something in common. Sure, there was a time when I shared his anger. In fact, I was still angry, but this is where we differed. I wasn't angry with the others. I was angry with myself. And once I realized that, it was easier to walk away. When I left, I tried to put myself in his shoes to figure out why he said and did the things he did. At times, I saw a different side to Jones, one that was vulnerable, desiring validation and acceptance. Then he would say something so vile and callous it became impossible to look past it. Even though I was no longer beholden to Jones for financial security, I couldn't be honest about how I felt. I was to blame for my actions unequivocally, yet I resented Jones for creating an environment of rage, fear, and confusion that diminished discernment, increased self-doubt, and left me feeling as if my brain had short-circuited. Well, that's all the way across the board. That's not only what he wants to do to his audience, but exactly what he's trying to do to the people that work for him, too. He wants to have the people that work for him be just as mind-controlled as the audience that follows his bullshit. I wanted to say these things to Jones, but I didn't. He offered to double my pay, suggested I work remotely, and even proposed funding a full-length feature film of my own work. I said it wasn't about money and turned him down. To this day, I still don't know why he wanted to keep me around. He said it was because he cared about me, but if I had to guess, I would say his main concern was losing control. The next morning, he called numerous times, and then again that evening, I let the calls go to voicemail. There wasn't a single moment that persuaded me to leave, but there was a turning point, a moment that stuck with me long after it happened. I thought of it as I sat next to Jones speeding recklessly down the highway on Election Day when I walked out of his office for the last time and decided to sit down and write this article. It was early morning, and we were headed back to Austin after the trip that began in Islamberg. As we boarded our flight, I took my window seat close to the rear of the plane. An older woman wearing a hijab sat next to me. With her was a young girl, giddy with excitement, who bounced in the middle seat holding a bag of pretzels. The woman leaned over and asked if I would let the girl sit by the window. This is her first time on a plane, she said. I agreed and moved my bag from under the seat. I thought of the children who lived in Islamberg, how afraid their families must have felt when their communities were threatened and strangers appeared asking questions. How we choose to look past these people as individuals and impose on them more of the same unfair suspicions they already had to endure, and for what? Clickbait headlines, YouTube views. As I sat on the aisle of the plane, now lifting up into the pale blue sky, I glanced over at a little girl staring out the window in wonder, her face glowing from the light reflecting off the clouds. She was amazed, joyful, innocent, carefree, and completely unaware of the world beneath her. So that's the article. Yeah, and there's some interesting stuff in there. But here's another one. Now it appears the Paul Joseph Watson, I've known those guys were fucking MI5, MI6 British spies from the very beginning. Now they're turning on him. See how this is all happening just like a script, just like it was a script back around 2015 when everybody lockstep, all the conspiracy truthers except me, of course, lockstep all started going to Trump and going all Jew and all white supremacist and hate stuff, just right at the same time like it was a script. This is all a script too. Don't get it twisted. Far-right personality and longtime Infowars editor Paul Joseph Watson warned Alex Jones to stop pushing the lie that the Sandy Hook school shooting was a hoax. He said in a recent testimony that will likely cripple his boss's chances of a lawsuit very well. See, and again, I've talked about this before. Listen, I knew from Jump Street that was a honeypot, and I didn't jump on it because I had people. I was getting sent conspiracy stuff every day on that, and people were pushing me. People were sending me emails, people I'd never heard of, trying to get me to cover the Sandy Hook stuff, and I refused to do it because there was something in my intuition that told me it was a honeypot and not jump on it. And I was 100% right. And look, all these people got behind this too. So did Paul Joseph Watson. Now, because Jones is getting sued, they're trying to separate themselves from it so they don't get caught up in the bullshit. I knew from Jump Street. I got so many people get mad at me and call me a shill and call me this, call me names because I refused to talk about the Sandy Hook thing. I refused to make videos or do shows about it. because I saw it coming and I felt that something's weird about this, something shady. And I could smell it, man. It's discernment. So now all the rats are jumping off the sinking ship and trying to act, we didn't have anything. No, you motherfuckers were pushing it just as hard. And now that Jones is going down, you cowards don't want to go down with him. Watson was deposed last month as part of a defamation lawsuit that Sandy Hook father Neil Heslin has levied against Jones, the owner of the far-right website since the 2012 Connecticut shooting that left 20 children and 6 adults dead. Infowars has repeatedly and falsely called the parents crisis actors and said that the shooting was a hoax. Jones is now being sued by 9 family members of loved ones who died in the shooting. The deposition released Thursday by Houston law firm Farrar and Ball centers around a 2015 email Watson sent to Infowars staff and Jones himself, pleading that the conspiracy outlet stop spreading lies about the Sandy Hook parents. The deposition took place on a video conference between Heslin's lawyer in Austin, Texas, and Watson in London. The Sandy Hook stuff is killing us, Watson wrote in the email. It's promoted by the most batshit crazy people like Rentz and Fetzer, who all hate us anyway. Plus, it makes us look really bad to align with people who harass the parents of dead kids. It's going to hurt us with Drudge and bringing bigger names into the show. Plus, the event happened 3 years ago. Why even risk our reputation for it? Jeff Rentz and James Fetzer both pushed the false narrative that the shooting was faked, and Fetzer recently lost a $450,000 defamation lawsuit against parent Leonard Posner after publishing a book titled Nobody Died at Sandy Hook. Attorney Mark Bankston, who was representing Heslin and multiple other families suing Jones, asked Watson in the deposition how he came to the conclusion that those 2 individuals were batshit crazy. Please. These guys were all in bed with each other. This is just such a load of crap. Because they were pushing the notion that nobody died at Sandy Hook, which I thought was not credible and was supported by no evidence, so therefore was a crazy conclusion to make, Watson said, but he stopped short of saying Jones was in the same camp because the Infowars host was simply commenting on the controversy of the conspiracy theories that were swirling about Sandy Hook at the time. Throughout the deposition, Watson attempted to defend his longtime ally and friend, arguing that Jones is not a journalist, so doesn't have to abide by the same ethics, and claiming that the harassment that the parents faced was not the result of Infowars' continued smear campaigns over the years. But Watson himself, a deeply uninformed conspiracy theorist, has his own reputation to protect. He's experienced a meteoric rise in the far-right world outside of Infowars over the years, boasting more than 1 million followers on Twitter. He was retweeted twice by Donald Trump before Trump became president, and more than 30 times by Donald Trump Jr., according to the Daily Beast. Again and again, Watson can't help but throw Jones under the bus by routinely acknowledging that what Jones did was deliberate and irresponsible. The testimony is bound to be another nail in the coffin of Jones's piddling legal defense that he was just engaging in free speech. In October, Jones lost an appeal in his case against Heslin and was also ordered to pay more than $25,000 in attorney fees. That same month, his motion to dismiss another lawsuit brought forth by Sandy Hook parent Scarlett Lewis also failed. And in November, he lost an appeal in yet another lawsuit brought by Sandy Hook parents Leonard Posner and Veronica De La Rosa, whose son was the youngest killed in the shooting. Jones is now on his 7th lawyer. And Jones didn't do himself any favors earlier this year when he was in the hot seat and forced to answer questions about his Sandy Hook lies, during which he admitted he didn't even know the date of the shooting. Jones's newest attorney, Wade Jeffries, told Huffington Post that he plans to represent his client for the long haul. Whether one agrees or disagrees with the discussion and debate, open discussion and debate are protected by the First Amendment, Jeffries said in a statement. Under the First Amendment, our nation has chosen to protect even hurtful speech on controversial issues to ensure that public debate is not stifled. Bankston said Jones's legal woes weren't going anywhere. Time is running out for Mr. Jones, Bankston said in a statement. The day is fast approaching when he will be held accountable for his monstrously reckless lies about our clients. Watson wasn't the only one attempting to sound the alarm within Infowars that their Sandy Hook coverage was dangerous. A 13-year veteran of the outlet, Rob Jacobson, fuck that guy. That guy's another plant. Another fucking plant that jumped the sheet. Let me tell you something. That guy right there is not to be trusted. I don't know if he works for the CIA or what, but he's a plant. That guy's not to be. See, that's what I'm saying. All this stuff. These guys are all agency. All of this is being contrived. All of this is for show. None of this is real. All of these people are all in on this together, and this is all being contrived to go after people who are attempting to tell the truth. That's what all this is about. This is all a big staged thing. All these guys are in on it. They're all on the same team, and yet they're playing victim, and they're playing this and that back and forth for this larger narrative that they're trying to portray here. It's all horseshit. Whew, that was a lot. All right, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with another show, and I've got lots more to get into with you tomorrow night. So be ready and be back here tomorrow night for more news and information. Again, support our work. Get yourself some downloads. Get a subscription to the Members Archives, and help us reach our goal of the week by tomorrow, $400, by making a contribution at our campaign page, which you can find in the comment section of this video, as well as in the information section, and on our Facebook pages at the Global Reality Radio Network Facebook page and the Josh Reeves Filmmaker Radio Host Explorer page as well. I love you guys very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Folks, this is Josh Reeves, and I'm here to tell you about a fantastic website, FixYourGut.com. FixYourGut.com can help you take control of your overall health. Are you sick and tired of suffering from indigestion, acid reflux, bloating, or abdominal pain? Do you run to the bathroom either all the time or hardly ever at all? Do you forget things often or have trouble concentrating? Are you depressed or anxious? Do you have IBD or SIBO? Digestive disorders are increasing in frequency because of our toxic-laden, fast-paced world. There are billions of microorganisms that live in your intestinal tract that have more to say about your health than almost anything else. Learn how to make sure your gut has more of the right organisms to improve your health and enhance your life. FixYourGut.com has over 200 free blog articles, and it's one of the most valuable resources on the planet to improve your overall health and well-being. Search either Fix Your Gut or We've Read the Documents on YouTube for the latest health and conspiracy information as well. You can also purchase John Brisson's book, Fix Your Gut, or get personal one-on-one health coaching to help get you back to living your life happy and healthy. Visit FixYourGut.com, the ultimate source for all things digestive health.